All right. Uh, this is Kenoshi Abominito. Oh, all right. So, sorry about that. Can't talk today. Hello out there, everybody in YouTube. This is Kenoshi Abominito here with another episode of Project Console, episode 38. You played yourself, and before we get started, I'd like my panelists to introduce himself.
Hello, it's Mr. Red Fox. Glad to be on another one of these casts. Yeah.
Glad to have you here. So for our first topic, Nintendo Direct. There was a Nintendo Direct today, but it was only a mini, and
Yeah.
this is why the episode is called "You Played Yourself." So, people. This happens a lot with not just Nintendo, but it seems to be Nintendo seems to be of the worst when it comes to this. So, a couple rumors and speculations. Oh, big Nintendo Direct. The big Nintendo Direct is coming. And, people got all hyped up thinking that, oh, it's Nintendo's big summer Direct. And then or I would say many people on the internet trolled themselves yet again. And it just turns out it was just a mini Direct. Just just
I
going
gotta
over the
disagree with
third
you on
party.
that one. I gotta disagree with you. It was a
Why
mini
is that?
direct, but there was some big news that came out
Yeah.
in the mini direct. So, I mean, I think the people who were disappointed were the people who were thinking what they thought it was going to be. But there's some big news in here.
Yeah.
There's some big news in here. Especially, I mean, there's certain IPs that people are fans of that they're doing like collections for. So, I mean, like, I don't know about you, but I mean, there's been some wishes that I've been wanting from certain companies to do that they're doing. Um, so I can't get mad, It was actually a pretty good little mini direct.
Okay. Okay. I mean, I thought it was decent. There's definitely stuff in there that I know people who only had a Switch or, um, were, or people who were looking for certain collections, certain games, obviously the big game, Persona,
Yeah, but that's coming to everything now.
yeah, it's
I
coming to
mean, that was
everything, but if
leaked.
you,
We kind of the one big thing there, which is Persona 5, we kind of already it was already leaked. It was coming to the Switch any goddamn way. So that's kind of like the only real like, yeah, we knew, we know. But I mean, there's some surprises in there, man.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, you're
So,
getting near Automata.
yeah,
You're
let's
getting
let's go down the list. So obviously, Monster Hunter Rise, Sunbreak, which obviously that we knew that was coming out.
yeah,
Near Automata, the end of Yorha edition. Again, that was a
yeah,
pretty big game when it came out.
and it
Hopefully, it
gets all the
runs.
DLC. So this is the most
Yeah.
complete version of the game until they release it on Steam with all that stuff too.
Yeah.
Lorelei and the Laser Eyes, which has an interesting name.
Yeah.
I looked at the brief trailer for it and it looks interesting, but um, the art style looks kind of cool. Looks like some Persona, not Persona, the other Catherine type stuff going on with that. But that's
Yeah.
coming to everything.
Yeah.
Super
Super
Bomberman
Bomberman
R2.
R2. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a. That's a.
they
I know
changed
people are.
Bomberman's art style again.
Yeah, I know people are kind of bummed out about the first game that came to the Switch. Hopefully, this one's better. Uh,
Well, I mean, it's in the little trailer they show that it has. Let's see, they're adding a real story mode, some world building, so it's more Bomberman 64 and not just like straight up. Oh, it's just you're blowing shit up. So, uh, I mean,
and here's
looks
here's
cool.
and here's the pretty big announcement. For people who are fans of this game franchise. Mega Man Battle Network Legacy Collection. So pretty much
Yep.
all the
All
games.
Yep. all of them,
Yeah,
all 10.
yeah,
I'd get that. It's also coming to Steam, but I'll get that just for that. Because
yeah,
I love that series. I wish Capcom would have done more with it. I wish, hell, if this does well, I hope they do a collection for the Star Force series as well.
yeah,
Uh, I liked the Mega Man Battle Network collection. I was like, oh, this. I mean, the first game is a little basic, but after the first game, it gets really good.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
I've heard decent things about the game. I was, it always kind of, when I was a kid, when I saw it, I was kind of confused by it because it's like, this is Mega Man. This isn't the Mega Man I'm used to.
yeah,
But I heard it's
yeah.
pretty
Well,
decent.
I mean, I'm glad they did that because I'll tell you right now, how many times can you have a character running down a hallway or running up a hallway or going up a tower with disappearing blocks and he can't shoot up or down, only left and right? You
Yeah,
gotta
yeah,
you gotta mix it up. And Battle Network and Star Force were both changed up the formula enough where I was like, oh, I can enjoy Mega Man and not have it be the same shit they've been doing.
yeah,
Um, Plus, there's some interesting world building where Battle Network takes place in an alternate universe where Doctor Light and Doctor Wily, instead of them working on robots, they worked on it was like the internet.
yeah,
So that's why like you have the navies and the World Wide Web and all that shit. But yeah,
yeah,
I mean, I liked it. I was like, oh, this is fucking amazing.
yeah. It looks pretty good. Um, let's see. We got uh, Pac-Man World Repack. Um, this is a game I remember playing on PlayStation as a kid. Again, this is as a kid, so I was probably like 8 or 9 or something. I don't. I played through it. I think it's that game. They came out with so many different 3D Pac-Man games. It seemed like they
Yeah,
were
it was
pumping
like
one out
this.
each year.
I want to say it was during the sixth gen. So on the PlayStation, I mean the PS2 and the GameCube. I don't know if it
Yeah,
came to the Xbox, but I know the GameCube and the PS2 had it. But I mean, they're bringing it back. It's coming to everything. I mean, I'm glad that Namco Bandai actually decided to do something with Pac-Man instead of just keeping him in the corner.
yeah, yeah. I remember having fun with the game as a kid. I remember playing it a lot. Well, might be something I check out. Uh, Blank
I
or
get it if it's on
Blanc.
sale.
Yeah, yeah,
Blanc. I think it's Blanc.
Blanc.
Yeah, Blanc.
That's an interesting game. Kind of going for that journey vibe where there's no really spoken or written dialogue. It's just all
Well, you
the
have a white deer teaming up with a fox, a small black fox.
yeah,
So, and they have to work in tandem in order to help each other.
yeah,
It's like a cuter version of that convict game where the two convicts have to work together, but it turns out one of them is an undercover cop, and it was a setup the entire time. It's like
yeah,
okay. Hopefully, it has a better ending than that game because the ending of that game sucked.
yeah, yeah. Uh, yeah, it's definitely a. I don't know. I've never been into those super artsy games, but I think it might be something I look into when again it's on
Well,
sale.
yeah, as long as they're not charging a huge amount for it. Like if it's like $20 or $25, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, yeah,
But once again, this isn't coming out till the 23rd. Like I wish they would have just taken the shit that's not coming till the 23rd and saved it for a direct like later in the year or at the beginning of next year.
yeah.
Because I mean, there's too many damn games, man.
So I think this is probably a big one for a lot of people who grew up with this franchise. Return to Monkey Island. So
Yeah, it looks
I know,
good.
yeah. So I know there are people who I've heard good things about the Monkey Island games. Is it being made by the same people?
I think um it's published by Lucasfilm Limited because which used to be LucasArts, or at least it used to be under LucasArts. I don't know if the same. I know Devolver Digital is is publishing it. I don't know if the same team is working on it. It could just be them.
I don't know
I think
if
this is that game that Ron Gilbert said he was making
I don't know
because
if
Ron Gilbert was one of the guys who started it.
Oh, I don't know if Double Fine was making it or something, because I know people from Double Fine were, they were around during that era.
Well, Tim
Uh,
Schafer used to work at LucasArts, and he
yeah,
helped work. He worked on the Monkey Island games, and Ron Gilbert was his boss. So you know, but as long as the head guy who was like in charge of it is there, which is Ron Gilbert, it'll be fine probably. I
Monkey
just want to
Island,
have Yo
or
Mama battles, Yo Mama word battles with the pirates, because that was an actual thing in Monkey Island where instead of sword fights, they were word fights, and you would basically do disses to each other to the pirates in order to beat them, and like you use Yo Mama word battles like the dozens to beat the pirates, and I'm like, this is such a product of the late '80s, early '90s. I
yeah,
love it.
yeah,
Now, because when I was a kid, we used to have the dozens and your mamas, stuff like that, which would be fun until inevitably you'd have that one kid, my mama died. It's like, man, then why are you over here? We sit
yeah,
here doing the dozens. Take your ass over there so people can keep on having fun.
yeah, yeah. Don't bum people out.
Yeah.
uh,
Then
but
they announced a
oh,
game that I personally don't give a shit about.
um,
Mario plus Rabbids Sparks Up.
yeah, yeah. The game looks fun to me. I just hate the rabbits. This,
Yeah,
I just wish it was a different. I still could be a Mario game, but I just wish rabbits weren't involved.
if they had like normal Rayman characters, that'd be cool. But I hate the rabbits.
Yeah, yeah,
Hey, but it looks like they're stealing a lot of ideas from Super Mario Galaxy for this one.
yeah,
If the other
yeah,
game was, they stole a lot of ideas from 3D World. They stole a lot of ideas from
Mario and the Rabbids
ideas from
blast off
Galaxy.
for a
So
galactic.
yeah. Kind of like what they're doing with the strategy gameplay that they had in the last game, but again, it involves the rabbits. So
yeah, I mean, the battle system in this game looks like they stole it from, or at least it's an evolution. There was this game called Future Tactics
yeah,
on the sixth gen, where you could basically, it was a tactics game, but and they also did this in Advance Wars too, not Advance Wars, Battalion Wars too, where
yeah,
basically you could do whatever the hell you wanted as long as like within your action area of action. Um, like you could move around as much as you wanted until like your action points ran out. And I think this is what they're doing too. It looks interesting. Um, like I said, if this didn't have the rabbits, I would really enjoy it. But I fucking hate the rabbits. So
yeah,
yeah, that's what breaks it for me. I just really hate the rabbits as
yeah,
characters.
yeah, yeah. Um, Little Noah, scion of the uh,
Sign of
Scion of the
Paradise.
Paradise. Yeah, this looks interesting. This looks interesting. I think it's like a roguelike side scroller game or something like that.
Yeah, it does look interesting. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's out now.
really?
So yeah, it's one of those shadow drop games. Like yeah, it's out today. It's like okay.
All right. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. It looks here out. It's on Steam. I might get it on Steam. Because if I don't like it, I can return it on Steam. If I don't like it on the Switch, I'm fucked. they don't let you. They don't let you return shit on the Switch. If you pre-order something and you like, oh wait a second, I don't like this, you can return it. But once you download it, you're fucked. Railgrade, which has an awesome trailer for a game just about trains.
yeah,
Like
yeah. This
this
is
trailer looks like this should be like a steampunk or Warhammer game, but you're just building trains.
yeah, yeah. It's for people that can't afford uh,
The other train simulators
the other train simulators, or can't either can't afford or don't have the room to build those
for a train set.
expensive, yeah,
Well,
those expensive ass train sets.
you can get cheap train sets. It's just they look like kid train sets, and if you're a train enthusiast, you don't want your shit to look raggedy. It's like,
Yeah,
this
exactly.
raggedy ass shit right here. It's like it's like if you're someone who's like, yeah, I have a studio, right? And you go to someone's house and they don't actually have a studio. It's just a room in their house that they put some blankets on the wall, like nailed some quilts on the wall to dampen the sound, and it's like in the closet with a microphone stand. Like you'd be like, this is some raggedy ass shit.
Yeah, yeah.
Like that's that's kind of like it's like it's an Epic Store exclusive though, so fuck this game.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't.
can't. Yeah.
Yeah, Epic Store exclusive. I'm like, well, I guess I won't be getting this game.
Let's see. RPG time. The Legend of Right. So I'm not really sure about this game.
I mean, it looks cool, but I'll probably get it on PC, not on Steam. So if I don't like it, I can return it versus me just like having to use it.
Yeah, make sure you like it within the first 2 hours. I
No,
kind
no,
of wish.
Steam gives you longer than that. Like you have 2 weeks or like first 5 6 hours, something like that.
Okay. I mean, it'd be kind of nice if they did have a 30-day back guarantee, but most people would abuse the hell out of that. They would play a game, beat it in like a week, then return it. Yeah, you probably can't do that with digital goods because it's like with physical goods. I mean, you're either just gonna, you're either just gonna, yeah, you're gonna return it, or you're just gonna become too lazy because you actually have to go out, drive to the store, have the receipt and all that stuff. Whereas a digital item is like, oh, I can just play this game for a week and then return it. 30-day get back
People
guarantee.
used to
No.
do that. I mean, there are people who still do that with GameStop. Like if you like get their thing with like the week, like I think it's like the week guarantee, they would get a game, blaze through it, and return it and get their money back.
Yep.
I'm
Yep.
like,
Yeah,
I mean that is foul.
I know somebody who abused that system. It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. It's like, yeah, because it's rent a game for $60 for like a week, and then return it.
Yeah,
Yay!
and I'm like,
Oh no.
first of all, that's cost prohibitive. Second of all, like yeah, there's some games like the Order 1886. I could understand if someone bought that game and was like, this game's only like 5 10 hours long. I beat it in a week. I returned it. But I mean, enjoying a game should be something where you take your time and you really enjoy it and you have fun with it. You can't really do that if you're blazing through a game in that short period of time.
Yeah, yeah. Sonic Frontier.
Sonic's latest action adventure
I
kicks
mean,
off on the
looks like they
vibrant.
stole a lot from Breath of the Wild. That's all I'll say about it. Look, I gotta go get
Yeah,
a
I
soda.
mean, I mean, this the footage they showed looks more interesting than some of the demos that they were pumping out a few weeks ago, but uh, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe get this game on a deep sale. Uh, maybe they should delay this game. Maybe.
Looks better than it did before. A little
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Um, Again, some of the footage that they were showing looked more interesting than what the demos than what the demos that their IGN and whatnot were showing.
Well, Sega
Uh,
said that the what they showed in that for those demos was from an earlier build of the game. Then I'm like, why the fuck did you show that for your announcement trailer? Like, if you
Sega
guys weren't
doesn't.
ready to show your announcement trailer with the most polished build that you had, then you shouldn't have had an announcement trailer.
Yeah, yeah, that's weird. I don't know. They don't really. I don't know if they weren't really sure how to. I don't know. Maybe that's just a
That's some,
cover
that's
because
some
they're.
amateur hour shit right there. If that's true, I don't know if it's
Yeah,
true, but I mean, you're a multi-billion-dollar corporation that makes video games, and you haven't figured out. Yeah, if we're gonna show, I mean, that would be the equivalent of, hey, I'm gonna write this paper, okay, and instead of giving my teacher the final, my professor or whomever, my final draft that's my most polished version, I'm gonna turn in my first or second draft that's like written like shit, and then
Yeah.
act surprised when people are like, "Yeah, this isn't written very well." No, whoa, no, that's my second. That's my first and second draft. Here's the good one. That's what Sega did.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then act surprised when someone judges you harshly. When all we have to go on is first impressions. The first impression is sometimes the most important impression.
Yeah.
But it's Sega, and Sega loves fucking up. I mean, let's just keep it real.
Yeah, that they do. Uh, Dreamlight Valley, Disney Dreamlight Valley. Looks like a Disney sim game. I don't know. Not usually into like these garden sim games, but I mean, I guess it's cool if you're into that.
Live magically.
I mean, if it wasn't Disney-based stuff, I might care, but I'm not hugely into Disney-based stuff, by and
Yeah,
large.
yeah. Neither am I. I mean, even as a kid. I mean, as a kid, yeah, I did watch a lot of the movies and stuff like that. Partially because I was either had to or um, 'cause, like in school or whatever, or just there was a couple movies I was intrigued in, like Pinocchio, and obviously some of the Pixar stuff. Uh, but I wasn't like huge into Disney. Like, I wasn't, I didn't ask for a bunch of toys and stuff like that pertaining to Disney characters. Or, I mean, I guess I guess I watched the Disney Channel as a kid, but
Let me let me put it this way. Most of the Disney, like Disney has some wonderful IPs. And the last time Disney actually did something good with their IPs, in my opinion, where I felt like, okay, in a medium where it's like it was different and fresh, was movies Who Framed Roger Rabbit. That was years ago. Video games, every time they have dropped the fucking ball.
yeah,
Disney themselves. Now, when they license their shit out to other people, you get wonderful stuff like the Capcom Disney games, like the NES games, and the Mickey and Donald games that
yeah,
were on the SNES, stuff like that. Um, but you also get nightmares like Kingdom Hearts.
oh yeah,
So, like, I mean, it's just for me with Disney. It always feels like it's always like it's they have inconsistency with their games.
yeah,
Like they're either it's gonna, typically speaking, Disney games these days are either gonna be some this shit like this Disney Dreamscape thing, where it's just designed to be this ultra casual experience that they're just gonna pump out in order to, oh, this is for your family, this is for your kids. I bet it'll have microtransactions, some premium currency bullshit. And they're gonna charge people out the ass for some bullshit. Because that's what Disney does these days, you know. They don't make good products anymore. They just squat some shit out.
yeah.
But that's my personal opinion. I could be wrong. What do you think about it?
Yeah, and obviously Disney isn't what they used to be. Um, so yeah, and then Live Alive, Live Alive,
Live Alive, Live Alive.
Live Alive.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I remember playing this game via emulator because it was never localized. Now they've HD2D'd-ified it, and I mean, like, since I already beat this game in its original format with thanks to localization, fan translation, but I'll probably get this if it, uh, you know, just so that I can say, you know, the Switch is rapidly turning into one of my favorite RPG consoles, aside
Yeah.
from PC.
Hey, I'll be right back. Hold on. Hold on.
All right. So, folks, do you have any games where you're like, any game? Do you have any games that you weren't expecting to see that look like they might be interesting for coming out? That were announced for the direct? Anything like that? Um, the Doraemon story of Seasons looked cool. I mean, it's basically Harvest Moon, but with Doraemon characters, so I guess that's cool. I mean, I really don't like the story of season spin-offs all that much. Like they had one that's based off of the My First RPG simulator, whose name escapes me. Um, had it on the tip of my tongue, but you guys do what you need to do, Um, but uh, but yeah, talking about Live Alive. Live Alive, when the first time I played it back in the day, I found out that there were a trio uh, of Super Famicom RPGs that were highly rated in Japan but never were localized. So it was Final Fantasy V, Bahamut Lagoon, and Live Alive. And Final Fantasy V, like I played and I enjoyed. Bahamut Lagoon, I played and I enjoyed, and I finally played Live Alive. But Live Alive is very different from those other two games. Uh, Final Fantasy V is basically like a perfected version of Final Fantasy 1 and 3. Bahamut Lagoon is a tactics game where the central conceit of the game is that people live on these giant floating islands, and essentially speaking, the islands actually turn out to be old, ancient, half-asleep dragons. Hence, the game's name, Bahamut Lagoon. Bahamut is the name of a legendary dragon in folklore. Um,
Yeah, I'm
mm,
back. Sorry.
yeah,
Um. Oh, go
Live
on.
Alive.
Yeah, Live
I was
Alive.
just talking about how Live Alive. Live Alive was the one game that I played the localized version for, and I really enjoyed. And I'm like, wow, this is actually really freaking good.
Oh, they localized that game?
They never localized it. They like they've brought it out with they HD2 deified it and stuff like that. Not completely, because at its core it's still like a 3D game. They didn't HD2 deify it like other games, but um, it still looks pretty good. And Live Alive, there's like 7 scenarios or 6 scenarios, and then you play through each of those scenarios where, like, ultimately it culminates with your character facing off against some ultimate evil, an incarnation of the ultimate evil named Odio. And
Oh,
at
okay.
least they probably changed the name to something else, but basically in the old translation it was called Odio. And then you play through the 7th scenario where you play as this paladin who gets fucked over, and he becomes the ultimate evil. Whose spoiler, his name is Odio. So it turns out in
Oh.
the other scenarios you're fighting a version of this guy's evil. And then
Oh.
in the 8th scenario, you choose one of the characters who you've actually completed their thing, except for the Odio character who you played through in the 7th scenario. And you basically go to the end of time, or the time period where Odio first existed, recruit other characters who are around there who, you've completed their scenarios because they're there as well to take on the main villain. But There's also a ninth scenario that opens up where you can play as Odio taking on the heroes from other time periods. It's
Is
weird.
that? Oh,
That's Live Alive.
oh, okay. So,
Live Alive is a pretty good game. It's. I mean, I can see why they didn't localize it because while Final Fantasy is really like even Final Fantasy V, which Square Enix thought was too complicated for U.S. gamers, Live Alive is a complicated game. It's not easy to get into, and I can understand why they didn't localize it back then because gamers couldn't understand a game like that. Because in Live Alive, the enemies always kind of like not all the enemies, but a lot of enemies basically they they don't level up with you, but the enemies are typically like are on a sliding scale of how much experience they give. So if you start fighting enemies and one-shotting them and you're way more powerful than them, they stop dropping loot. So you can't really grind for healing items. There's like item limits. Like the game, and you're rewarded for fighting stronger enemies because that's how you learn new special abilities. That's how your skills level up, all that type of stuff.
yeah.
So I could see why people were like, yeah, we're not gonna keep Live Alive. We're not gonna bring it over. So I'm glad they're finally bringing Live Alive over. Hopefully, they will have ticked down the difficulty a little bit for people so that they can play it and not get kicked in the nuts. Um, but yeah, aside from that, yeah, I recommend it. 2 thumbs up.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Odio, isn't that like it might be spelled differently. Isn't that Spanish for like anger or hate?
Probably.
I know it's a
Um,
Japanese game, so it might be spelled differently and have a different
I
meaning
mean,
in
they
Japanese,
probably
but
In Japanese his name was probably Aku or something like that because that means evil.
yeah.
But yeah, Odio in the game. I mean, if you find out about how he basically like what caused his fall into darkness, it kind of makes sense why he would be called Odio or Aku. But
Yeah.
I always knew him as Odio. But anyway, the game Live Alive is really good. My only problem is that Square Enix is probably going to charge like $60 for this, when really it's like a
Yeah.
$40 game. It's not a
Yeah.
$60 game.
I mean, I would probably pick it up because this game really does look nice. I'll tell you what, I really like what they're doing with the HD engine stuff. Um,
Yeah, I like it. I think it's really good, personally.
Doraemon, Story of Seasons,
It's
Friends is
Harvest
the
Moon.
great. Yeah, it's Harvest Moon with the action RPG elements.
Yeah, it's Forest Moon with Doraemon characters.
Yeah,
You know,
Dor.
but considering Doraemon's one of the most long-running uh, IPs in Japan, you know,
I've never heard of Doraemon. I think I've heard people bring it up, but I've never. What is Doraemon exactly?
Doraemon is this robot cat that essentially comes from far in the future. He gets in a time machine that goes in the past, and he winds up teaming up with this kid and his friends, and they go on adventures. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's think Rick and Morty, but Rick isn't a piece of shit,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it's a robot cat. There you go, Doraemon.
I wonder if that's what that character because there's a character in a short mini Japanese anime series called Akudama Drive. I wonder if there's a cat character that helps these two kids escape from a. I wonder if that character is loosely based off of this Doraemon character.
I mean,
Except
considering that
darker.
Doraemon is a pop culture character in Japan, and it's a Japanese manga. Probably anime
Yeah.
is probably the case. It's kind of like in America, you'll see a lot of like stuff here in America that's built off of like American folk tales. Like you'll see a lot of like they'll do a steampunk John Henry or a steampunk Pecos Bill or a steampunk headless horseman Ichabod Crane type stuff. That's American folklore. So you'll
Yeah.
see that like it ebbs and flows. But like Tim Burton did that Sleepy Hollow with Johnny Depp back in the day. That was like a sequel to Sleepy Hollow.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, you have the same thing in lots of cultures. Like if you look at Indian culture or like Southeast Asian, like HBO Max and HBO Max had this show about Southeast Asian mythology, and it was like, well, I mean, it was made in Southeast Asia, so for them, that's just part of their local culture, and they put it into a TV show. It's actually pretty interesting.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just one of those things.
Let's see. Minecraft Legends.
The world of Minecraft meets
Yeah,
play in
I
Minecraft.
was like, this is interesting. I wasn't like enthralled with it, but it's interesting.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, it's just amazing how this game is spanning off into so many different games, and it just really took off. Like I remember when I was in college, I was seeing somebody play like a beta of the game. Like it hadn't even been released yet, and then just couple years later, when it was finally out there, uh, it just took off. That guy made money handed over
Mojang.
fist. Mojang made so
Well,
much money.
he made he made decent money, and then he sold it to Microsoft and made a fuck ton.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Because Microsoft has more money than God.
Well, it's one of the few IPs that Microsoft hasn't destroyed. I mean,
Well, because they
it's
left it the fuck alone.
yeah, yeah. That's the thing about Microsoft is like if they buy stuff and they leave it alone, it usually
It
turns
does
out pretty
well.
good. Yeah,
Yeah, if they leave it alone, it does well. It's when they go up there and they do weird shit that it gets worse. It's like we can make it better. Except sometimes I do think they should be getting involved with it. Like I think that Bethesda needs to have Fallout taken away from them.
yeah. And I kind of think
Like
I think they kind of helped Psychonauts too get finished because what's
because they
his
ran out of money.
yeah because what's his name can't manage for shit.
Well, I mean, Tim
He's a good
Schafer, from
he's
what I heard, from what I heard, Tim Schafer is good at managing people. But the thing is like they're like Tim Schafer is a Tim Schafer is a triple A developer stuck on a indie developer budget.
yeah yeah yeah
Like Double Fine is a studio where they kind of need a bigger budget to make the games they want to make. And I'm not against that because, like I said, if you give Tim Schafer a big enough budget and the resources, you get good games. Like even their indie games, like even though people like to talk shit about some of them, they're still pretty good. You know, mechanically their games aren't buggy. They tell a complete story from beginning, middle to end. You know,
yeah
it's easy to talk shit about people when you aren't doing that. But like I said, Tim Schafer, like all the games Tim Schafer and his team have worked on, no one can say any of them haven't been important or critically acclaimed.
yeah.
Like when he was with Lucas Arts, this man worked on Monkey Island games. Then he did Full Throttle, which is a cult hit. Grim Fandango, cult hit. Then he started Double Fine. The first game they did was Psychonauts. Fucking amazing.
I'm not saying
Then
I'm not saying he's a bad developer. I'm just saying that they've just had trouble with managing money, managing
well,
getting projects out the door.
Well, I mean, the problem, like I said, is that Tim Schafer wants to give you a AAA game experience in almost every game that he's in charge of, but they don't have AAA money.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, that's not like I would rather have a developer try really hard to give you a great experience and fail at it than a lot of developers who just strive for mediocrity and bullshit.
yeah, half-ass it. They
Yeah.
they
Oh, we're charging you $30 for a game that feels like it should be like five.
yeah, like Bethesda's games are put together with hot glue, rubber bands,
And
toothpicks,
spit.
and spit and
And spit. Yeah.
marshmallows, and hope to
Yeah.
God it doesn't fall apart once you
Yeah.
load it up.
Don't breathe hard. Don't breathe hard on this game because it might not. It might fall over and you gotta restart.
Oh man, Dragon Quest treasures. Another Dragon
Treasures.
Quest, or yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
Dragon
yeah.
Quest.
You're right. Dragon Quest Treasures. Yeah, I mean it's a Dragon Quest spinoff. You know.
Yeah. Um, Portal Companion Collection. So I guess all two Portal games because what's his name can't count the three.
You mean Gabe Newell
Yeah,
can't count to three.
Gabe Newell can't count the three.
He's physically averse to counting to three.
Yeah, yeah,
This sounds cool. I would rather get it on PC where I can download mods that add new levels and new areas and shit. I wouldn't get Portal on the Switch. Just
yeah,
because you can't download mods to add new stuff to it.
yeah.
Uh,
And
then we have
although
Square Enix's take on Harvest Moon.
yeah, Harvestella.
Yeah, it looks like Final Fantasy and Harvest Moon had a baby,
Yeah,
and then
this
that
is the game.
baby
This is the game
turned
I'm
into an
kind of.
anime weeaboo.
Yeah, this is the kind of game I'm, mildly interested in.
It looks good. It looks like a higher, bigger budget Harvest Moon. Sorry,
Yeah,
Rune Factory. Looks like a higher, bigger budget Rune Factory. Is what it looks like.
yeah,
It's like, what
Landed
if
on an
Rune Factory
unknown
had a different
planet
art
and
style and
decided
they
to
had
help
more
a new
money?
friend.
And now you have Harvestella.
yeah,
Which it looks
yeah,
like they just kind of took the money that they would have spent. It looks like they took the engine and a lot of the assets from their other 3D Final Fantasy games, scaled it down a little bit so it didn't look as hyper realistic or, less stylized. And then there you go.
yeah.
Harvestella. I like it.
Yeah, I think I might check it out. I'm not usually into the sort of games, but I kind of like. I don't know. I kind of like the premise of saving saving your little village rather than trying to save the. I think maybe you're trying to save the world, but it seems like it's more focused on saving this little village that you're trying to that you're trying to live in.
Well, yeah. So basically, there's 5 seasons in this world, and like summer, spring, fall. I mean, spring, fall, spring, summer, fall, winter, and then there's a fifth season where the monsters go crazy and people's shit's getting destroyed. So basically, it's a 5 season year, and you have to prepare the other 4 seasons for the fifth season so that you can defend your area. But apparently, from what I've been able to see, you can also go to other places and do shit, which is cool. I like it. I like what they're doing.
I'll definitely check this out. I really do like the art style too.
Yeah,
Looks pretty unique.
yeah. I mean, it looks cool. And it looks like Nomura wasn't involved with it because the characters don't look fucking ridiculous.
Yeah,
They look stylized, but not fucking ridiculous. So
yeah, yeah. So the big wait a minute.
big dog, the real
Yeah,
surprise that wasn't a surprise whatsoever.
the one of the worst kept secrets in gaming. A bunch of Persona games are coming to the Switch.
Yeah, Persona 3. Persona 4 Golden, and Persona 5. It's also coming to Steam, so
Yeah.
basically Atlas and Sega and Atlas were like, why are we just putting this all on the PlayStation? We'll also put this on other shit too, because that's extra money that could be going in our pockets. Why the fuck
I
are
mean,
we just all trying to keep it on this butt?
Persona 4 Golden came out on Steam and it
It was
just
our
took off.
no, it did pretty well. It did pretty well
Yeah.
on Steam. I'm just saying, like, having shit on other platforms, especially niche franchises, is a good way of double and triple dipping without alienating people. You
Yeah.
know, I don't know why people want. I know a lot of gamers like this should only be here and this. Look, listen, man. These people are trying to make money, and putting shit on other places is a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, because I personally am gonna double dip and get Persona 5 again, but I'm gonna get it on PC. I already have Persona 3. I even have Persona 3 R on the PS2. I have both those games. I don't like R on a
Yeah.
personal level.
You don't like
It wasn't
Persona
called R.
5
It was called Fess.
Best?
It's called Persona 3 Fess, which was like a remix, and I didn't like it, so I was like, I don't like this. I don't.
I guess there's this random game that was probably announced called Captain Velvet uh, Meteor. The
Captain Velvet Meteor, the Jump
Yeah,
Plus
Jump Plus
Dimensions.
Dimensions. Yeah, I have no idea what this is.
I like how this little Asian kid has like a huge afro. I'm like,
Yeah.
what? Why does this kid have a huge afro? And how is afro fitting in that little hat? This looks like a tactics game, but with its own like little weird thing going on. It looks interesting. I hope
That's
it's
a,
not like a. Oh, it's for. Okay, so it's you've got characters from the Shonen Jump, so it's a crossover game.
oh, okay.
Okay, I see what this is. Okay, yeah, this looks
That's
like
why
it
it
could be
looks so.
interesting.
Yeah, that's why it looks so weird.
It's different art styles, and that's why they have the characters blacked out because you can't see the other characters. Well, it's been years since I've read Shonen Jump, so I don't know who the fuck these characters are. I'm like, who the hell is this?
Yeah. The only Shonen Jump characters I followed for a while was Naruto and Dragon Ball, and
Yeah,
I just,
like
and of course I'd go back to older stuff like Yu Yu Hakusho, and
yeah.
so
When I read Shonen Jump, they still had Bobo 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 Bo, Yu Yu Hakusho. Naruto was just getting started in Jump. One Piece was just getting started in Jump. Bleach was just getting started in Jump. Um, Hunter x Hunter was still running in Jump. Um, and obviously DBZ. That was
yeah,
it. It was like, oh wow, this is it's kind of cool because I used to because this was when those series were first getting started, and there weren't enough issues for them to do like single runs of like this is like this volume is like 100 chapters or 50 chapters or whatever. So the only way you could read it was in Shonen Jump.
yeah, yeah,
Um, so but that's a long time. Like I haven't read Shonen Jump since then. I'm like I don't know, I don't. So like yeah, this character's gonna be here. I'm like I don't know what the hell these people are doing.
yeah. You know, there's My Hero Academia, which uh, is pretty popular. I haven't. I started watching My Hero Academia. I got into it, but I just, of course, then there's also Fire Force.
Yeah,
The
Fire Force is
reason,
interesting.
yeah, the thing about My Hero Academia is, I guess, one of the reasons I quit watching it is because I know a bunch of people that just kind of just like, yeah, it's kind of fallen off. I was like, well, I'll just go. I guess I'll just go do something else. I don't know. Maybe I'll continue watching it. Create my
Yeah,
own opinion about it, but
eh, I mean, for me, I'm not really that into Hero Academia because I'm like, I don't like any of these characters. The main character you're supposed to like, I don't like. I don't like the side characters. I don't like the villains. There's no one that I really care about except for All Might. I liked him because I'm like, it's very interesting having a character who knows he's dying and yet still tries to do the right thing. But then he eventually dies, and it's like we're left with these fucking side characters who I mean,
Well,
the quote unquote main characters who I don't give a shit about.
the problem with this, like, and I'll preface this by saying, yeah, I know Naruto is not original. Okay, I know a bunch of people are gonna scream when they say, "Well, Naruto is not original." Yeah, I know it's not original.
Technically, nothing is original because human experience keeps on echoing the hero's journey. But I get what you're saying.
Yeah, but people get really, really crazy about this stuff. But it's just like just a lot of weird Naruto tropes. Like, if I've heard somebody say, and this is before I watched this, like, it's funny to me that this kind of quoting what they say. It's funny to me that there are people out there that really like My Hero Academia, but said they really hated Naruto. I'm just saying the main character is just a combination of Rock Lee and Naruto, personality wise. I mean, when I saw Eraserhead, and the way he was acting, it's like, yeah, this is basically Kakashi.
Well, here's what I'm gonna say. The reason that Naruto is better than My Hero Academia is because while Naruto, while you're right, functionally they share a lot of the same tropes. Naruto isn't as annoying as the main character is in My
Deku.
Hero Academia. Yeah,
Yeah.
Deku is far more annoying. His friends, like, now, but there's some things where it's like let me put it this way, okay? The relationship between Naruto and his supposed best friend, um, uh, uh shit, Sasuke, okay? That relationship doesn't make sense that they're friends because Sasuke's a piece of shit. And yet somehow Naruto and he wind up being friends. Whereas there's a point in My Hero Academia, to its credit, where Deku's like, this guy's an asshole. Like he doesn't even squint trying. It's like he's a fucking asshole. So I mean, like there are some things where My Hero Academia does one up Naruto. The problem with
Yeah.
Naruto is that the guy wrote himself into a corner and he didn't know how to get out of it. And then so
Yeah.
he fell down on tropes of, well, the power of friendship and all that shit. Power of friendship is great when it works, when you have set it up that the power of friendship can overcome a lot of shit, but at a certain point it's like the power of friendship ain't gonna solve this, Um so that's where things kind of fall apart for me. But I mean, to each his own. Like I said, Naruto has its strengths, and that a lot of the other side characters are interesting. Like the Frog Sage, interesting. The summons, interesting in Naruto. A lot of the side characters are really interesting. A lot of the side characters in Naruto have character, whereas a lot of the side characters in My Hero Academia are just there to be puns.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like they don't really have. It's like, okay, my parents were two people with quirks. One had fire and one had ice, and those two elements don't mix. So I'm fucking twisted, and that's my
Yeah.
character trait. I'm just twisted. I'm a twisted asshole. It's like there's got to be more than that going on.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the problem with like Naruto's side characters have character. Like,
Yeah.
there's no one in My Hero Academia as a side character who has the level of interesting character development as Rock Lee.
Yeah.
That's a side character. But there's no one in My Hero Academia there's no one in Naruto who has the realistic reactions of Deku. Because Naruto, I want to be the Hokage of the village of the Hidden Leaf. This guy just tried to kill everyone in our village and wipe it the fuck out. But we're friends, and so I'm not gonna fucking kill him like I should. That is, there's some problems there. They're no really. I'm gonna tell you the best shonen anime I have seen where there's a lot of realistic shit going on, even though it's an anime / manga, is Hunter x Hunter. Like, you know that
Yeah.
shit in anime where some kid's like, I'm gonna break through my limits and beat up a grown-ass person who's been doing this shit for years.
Yeah.
Nah. No,
That's what
there's a
happened.
scene in Hunter x Hunter where little Gon Freaks is like, yeah, I'm gonna fight forget that dude's name. Kurapika? Not Kurapika, shit. He looks like the Joker. I think his
Yeah.
name's Asaka, whatever. He beats the shit out of that little kid. He beats his ass. I mean, he gives him a grown man ass whooping. I mean, it's like, God damn.
Yeah.
I'm like, stop the fight, please. Someone throw in the fucking towel. Throw in
the damn towel.
Throw in the damn towel. I mean, they beat the shit out. I mean, he whooped his ass like he stole something. And people in Hunter x Hunter have realistic responses. Like the older Hunter guy who wants to pay for that fucking orphanage or whatever. When he finally meets Gonfreak's father, Jin, he's like, "You're a piece of shit." he just gets up. He's like, "Excuse me, why are you such a piece of shit?" Like literally what everyone would have been saying, because you're not supposed to like Jin Freaks. He's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
And they establish he is a total and complete piece of shit. Like he's totally undeserving of having a son like Gon.
Yeah.
Because he's a piece of shit. Like literally, I mean, like Hunter x Hunter takes a lot of the tropes that you expect in anime and completely subverts them in the best way possible. Like, you know how Goku is a fucking terrible father and Gohan has never said, this guy's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, it's like, I mean, that's kind of the sad thing. I mean, really, that's a shame. And I'll tell you another anime that has people going against, that has a subversion of your expectations in the best way. One Piece. In terms of form and structure. Because One Piece will have side stories where characters will have character development that actually matters to the main story.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, you watch other shit, oh, we had a side story where a character learned an awesome ability that they only used that one side story and then never used it again. Because that's anime tropes for you. But anyway, yeah, we could go off on a tangent on anime. I'm going to leave it alone.
Yeah. Let's go on to the next topic, and that is the Xbox is catching up to the PlayStation. So apparently, the Xbox
You
yet
mean
again
in Japan? Or
in
just
Japan,
worldwide?
just worldwide. Actually, it's only a few few 100,000 units behind.
Makes
So it's not
sense.
that.
You can't get a PlayStation 5. They can't make them. There's no components for them.
Yeah.
And Sony
yeah.
isn't doing shit to fix that.
And for some reason, people got mad at Microsoft for buying priority, which is something people do all the time when it comes to this sort of stuff. But whatever.
I mean, if you
Um,
have the money, you can spend it. And
yeah.
Microsoft has the money, so,
And
you know.
so I don't know. Maybe this will light a fire under Sony's ass and be like, look, I guess it's
We
time
need
for
to
us to.
we need to make more units.
Yeah, it's time. It's time to borrow some more money from Japan so we can make more.
Well, I mean, the problem with the
Wow.
PS5 is that Sony. What happened with Sony is that they wanted to have another 2 years with the PS4, but when the Switch came out and it started making a lot of, they were like, shit, okay, we gotta go with our next gen thing. So they started moving projects. Same thing with Microsoft. They started moving. Well, Microsoft was looking for an out because the Xbox One was just not doing anything for them.
Yeah.
So Microsoft was like, okay, look, we gotta like they wanted it out, Nintendo wanted it out. Sony was like, well, we want to stick with the last gen because we're making so much money off the PS4. But it wasn't meant to be, and they were caught with their pants down. And when the pandemic happened and the supply lines were disrupted, they couldn't they didn't react fast enough. And it's the reason why you go to a Sony movie and they're like showing commercials for Sony games new Sony games coming out, and I'm like, why the fuck are you showing commercials for Sony games when people can't even get Sony PlayStation 5s? So they stopped doing that. Now they're showing controllers. How the fuck am I going to use a new PS5 controller when I can't even get a PS5? So I should buy the controller first and then hope that I can get a PS5 eventually to play with to use with the shit. Sony is just this generation has shown just how ill prepared Sony was for the next gen.
Yeah, they thought they could rest on their laurels and be like, you know, it's gonna rest on our. We're just gonna rest on our laurels, and we'll just skirt through the next generation without any problems.
Yeah, yeah. I mean that's kind of sad. Not gonna lie, it is kind of sad that. But I mean, this is why I say I don't want any console manufacturer to have a run and be unchallenged because what happens is that they get lazy. Nintendo running into going from the Wii to the Wii U, they got lazy.
Yeah,
Sony going from the PS4 to the PS5, they got lazy. You know, you
yeah,
should never be lazy.
yeah, yeah. That is true. You should look at Intel for the longest time when AMD wasn't doing anything. They just kept bringing out. They didn't really change their architecture all that much. They just kind of copy and pasted what they were doing, except maybe made things a little faster. They were like, "Oh, 4 cores is enough. We don't need to bring out anything
We'll
better."
we'll, we'll sell a gimped card, and then we'll gimp this card. Then we'll sell the same card to someone else with one feature unlocked that we gimped on the other one. And
Yeah,
that was Intel's. But I mean, I don't think that was. I don't think the engineers at Intel were like that. That was the head. That was the executive board headed by that fucking banker CEO who didn't
yeah,
understand engineering.
yeah,
You know,
yeah. That was one
because
of
as
the
long as they were
biggest
bringing in
problems.
money, they were happy. But it's like when you own a tech company, you can't do the bare minimum.
Yeah, because like we say, like developers and engineers, they don't go into they don't spend their whole life to make a bad product. They actually a lot of, I mean, yeah, you get shady developers and shady engineers, but for the most part, I think a lot of these people want to make a decent product. It's
Yeah,
like
I
what
mean,
else
I'm
am I
pretty
getting paid?
sure. I mean, what I was gonna say is, I'm pretty sure that a lot of people I'm pretty sure that a lot of people who like if you're an engineer, okay, you want to work at some place and you're like you want to work someplace where you're doing cutting edge R&D. That's the dream of an engineer. You're going to give me a budget to work on new shit and experiment and try and be cutting edge and blaze a trail. That's the dream of an engineer. Like a science, because engineering and engineers and scientists, it's all in the same field. You're gonna pay me to do research and figure out new shit. Amazing. And then to be told, oh no, 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 fuck the new shit. Just keep on reiterating the same shit you've been doing.
Yeah, yeah,
Anyway,
yeah.
yeah,
Anyway, let's go on to.
yeah.
Sorry, I thought I cut up there for a second.
No, no, the Xbox is catching up to the PlayStation. I mean, eh. The only thing I'll say is this. It would be great if this was happening because the Xbox actually had, first party games that were comparable to Sony's first party. Because Sony still has some really good first party games coming to their platform. this is because of the supply issues between the PlayStation with the PlayStation. It's not because of like really healthy commercial competition. Um, so
Yeah.
but anyway, next thing is Miyamoto did not like the look of Wind Waker at first.
Yeah, yeah, he didn't like the look of Wind Waker. And I remember when that game first came out, there were at least a couple people I knew that was like real turned off by the art style of
Yeah,
Wind
I was one
Waker.
of them. I was one
Um,
of them. I didn't like the look of it either when it first came out, but it grew on me.
I kind of like the look of it because it was like I think it was one of the better looking cell shaded games at the time when there were a lot of cell shaded games.
Hmm.
Not to mention, it just kind of looked different than a lot of the stuff that I was playing. Uh, of course, I didn't get the privilege of seeing that. Had I have seen that E3 demo, I think my opinion would have been different. But yeah, I didn't see that, and one of the reasons that they kept the art style is the developers ended up falling in love. The other developers ended up falling in love with the art style, and B, they didn't have the funds to make a super realistic Link at the time. Uh, so really didn't have. It was either the funds or the manpower. I don't think they had the manpower at the time to
Well, I mean,
make.
funds is also manpower. Human
Yeah,
resources is also because they have to pay those people. So, I mean, either way, uh, I agree that it was the art style isn't really a problem with Wind Waker in hindsight. The problem with Wind Waker is just uh, they kind of spent so long trying to get the game mechanics to work that there's shit missing in that game.
yeah,
Like there's just a ton of shit missing. Like there's like 2 3 dungeons that should be in that game that just aren't there.
yeah, yeah. Which I think ended up showing up in Twilight Princess. I think they ended up reusing those dungeons in Twilight. I'm not sure.
Yeah, they did. They were like, okay, we can't use this dungeon here because we're under time constraints, so we'll just put the shit over here. And I'm like, okay, you can do that, but it's kind of
Yeah, because there's like a sequence where you get one of the orbs, and it's just the or the
they
orb
just
is
give it
just
to you.
they just give it to
Yeah,
you. It's like, well, this is kind of a okay.
the
This
water
is
orb, like the orb. I'm like, this should be in a dungeon because I went to dungeons to get the fire and earth orb. I should go into a dungeon to get this orb, and it's
the
weird.
it,
It's
it's
fucking weird.
it feels very anticlimactic. It feels like it definitely when you play that sequence, it's like yeah, it feels like there should be a lot of stuff happening here, but
Yeah,
they were under some constraints. They were kind of like we can't.
we
We
don't
just
have
don't have the
time. Yeah,
time.
we gotta, like, and when you go for the Triumph Forks quest, that long involved fucking quest, there should have been something there, more there, instead of you fishing and using your crane and all that shit.
Oh, I
Like,
hated
there
it.
should have been like, okay, like, it would have been better. Okay, you have to fight these pirate ships where Ganon's forces are basically pirates, and they've gotten the Triforce pieces. That would have made more sense. Or maybe like some of them are pirate ships, others are like little mini fortresses, kind of like Akana Castle and Majora's Mask, where that's not a main dungeon, but it feels like a main dungeon. Like that's the type of shit they should have had, but they didn't have time for that. They had to make it feel right for a Legend of Zelda game. So,
Yeah,
oh well.
yeah, yeah, and that sequence was that was a I think that's one of the reasons I never finished it on the GameCube because I was just kind of like, I don't really want to do that, do all
Yeah, I
this.
powered through it. I powered through it, but I could see why some people have said fuck it and moved on. Like I'm not
They,
gonna. If someone said I never beat it on the GameCube, and I wouldn't be like, how could you not do that? I'd be like, I understand, I get it.
I guess they fixed it on the Wii U supposedly. I
They
played it
did
on
not.
the.
They
You didn't
did
think they
not fix it
fixed?
on the Wii U. It's just as here's how they quote unquote fixed it on the Wii U. On the Wii U, in order for you to travel, you can get like a super like you can get a sail in the base game that makes you sail faster on your ship. You can get a super sail on your ship that'll make it go two times like a speed faster than the super sail in the base game. Um, they also made the Triumph Forks quest, the Triforce quest that used to have you have to go to like 8 locations, down to like 5. But that's
Oh,
not really fixing the problem.
yeah,
You just made it slightly less tedious. That's not like if they really wanted to fix it, they would have created new islands that had like little dungeons you had to go through to get the Triforce pieces.
yeah,
But that takes effort, and I mean, Nintendo's a one and done type of company. They put the effort in once and then they're like, we're done. We're moving on to the next thing.
yeah, yeah. The um yeah, I because I remember powering through it and on the Wii U. The thing about the sale and obviously why it didn't exist on the GameCube is because of processing processing power. The GameCube couldn't load the map that fast, which is interesting. I remember when they were talking about that. I think it was at, at a Nintendo Direct. They're like, yeah, I can't. The reason this something like this didn't exist before is because of processing limitations.
I mean, I don't know if it was processing limitations or just a time constraint issue where they're like, look, we got to get this game out and we don't have time to optimize it. I do know that even on the GameCube, if you're playing Wind Waker, there's parts where it slows. Even on the Wii U, there's parts where Wind Waker kind of slows down if there's a lot of shit going on. But I don't
Yeah,
think I don't think that's a hardware issue. I think that's just the coding issue and stuff like that. Um, I mean, like I said, the art style is kind of disconcerting at first, but then you just get into the game and you're like, whatever.
yeah,
Besides, I mean, okay, the art style is kind of kiddie, but the ending of Wind Waker is not kiddie at all because Link fucking plants a sword in Ganon's fucking head. He plants that shit in his sword like, okay, well, I guess you're the new Master Sword altar.
yeah,
Like, bye.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, I'm like, God damn, that is some. It's ironic to me that the two most hardcore deaths for Ganondorf in Legend of Zelda happened during the GameCube generation. In one game that was really kiddie, and another game that was trying really hard to be a Western,
Yeah.
and that was Twilight Princess, which is essentially a Western, and I love it.
So, all right. Next, we'll go on to the next topic. Um. Oh yeah.
Diablo Immortals.
This story was crazy. Apparently a streamer, the Diablo Immortals player, spent over $15,000 to get a rare gem, a level 5 rare gem. And I'm just kind of like, man, the predatory nature of this game is out of control.
But that's what it was designed to do. It was designed to be a microtransaction mess.
Wow, that is crazy. Um, they 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 are their RNG is some BS. That's for sure. I mean, I understand if you have a gotcha game, like a free to play game, you just can't hand people all the good crap at the beginning. right at the out of the gate, but jeez, this is overboard.
Yeah, but I mean, you have to remember this was made by NetEase. Like uh, Blizzard licensed Diablo to them. This is the same company that in China they also put out Diablo 2. Was it no Diablo 3? They localized that. And Diablo 3 in China is very different from Diablo 3 in other places. It's got microtransactions. It's got fucking like, hey, you want to get some better runes? Well, just spend a little bit of money, you can get better runes. But that's how gamers are in China. Like, if you have money, just spend the equivalent of like $3 or $4 and buy some better shit. Like, people in China don't mind using their money to make their lives easier in anything,
Yeah.
and that's basically how it is in their gaming. You know, that's why smartphone gaming in China is so microtransaction heavy. That's why those mechanics make so much money in markets like that. So, not surprised that Diablo Immortal is like that. The fact that, but here's the irony of ironies. They can't even, because NetEase did some shit that they didn't like, China won't even let them release Diablo Immortal in the market it was made for.
It, it was that bad, huh?
No, no, no. They were mad at NetEase because NetEase did some shit that they didn't like, so they were like, "You can't release this because China is a communist it's a communist it's a communist economy where the government has huge amounts of you know huge amounts of shit. So you know
So, any free topics before we close out the show?
uh, I mean, I only have one free topic. I didn't think it would be like really insanely like, oh, you have to talk about this, but thought it would be worth. I thought it would be worth talking about. So my little free topic is this, and this is a question topic that I thought people want to hear about. What, in your opinion, is a game that desperately needs a remake?
Hmm.
Like, there, like the game came out. It was probably it might have been really good, but it's maybe dated for its time. But if they brought it back, maybe polished it up, maybe changed a few things, it would be fucking amazing now.
Oh, I'll let you go first.
All right. For me, I'm gonna say the game that I wish would be brought back. I loved it so much. Is I mean, there's a fan make. Before I say the game, there's a fan made mod of this game that's making it into a true open world and not just zone after zone after zone where you load between the zones. And that's Simpsons Hit and Run. It basically was Simpsons GTA.
Yeah. Yeah, I played that game. A little bit of that game. It's
Yeah,
interesting, but
yeah.
yeah, thank
Simpsons
them.
Hit and Run. No, go ahead.
So is it like a PC mod, or are they modding the
It's a
console
PC
version?
mod because you can only mod the PC version because that one is
No,
a
is
little
it
more
is
open
it
to modding.
is it? Oh, so they came. There's a PC version of this game.
Yeah, it
I
came out
didn't
on
know that.
PC back in the day. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
Simpsons Hit and Run. I would love if that game was remade or they made a sequel where like maybe like if they made the world bigger and more detailed because you like the thing if you did a Simpsons GTA, you don't have to make it huge because really in Springfield, I mean, you've got downtown Springfield where the mall is and shit like that. You've got the suburbs of Springfield, you've got the central part of Springfield, maybe do Shelbyville, which is Springfield's rivals, and you could have all types of awesome shit. They could if they made a Simpsons Hit and Run 2 or like a sequel or whatever. and you kept like steal some ideas from GTA 5 where you have three protagonists, like have the entire family as playable characters, except for Maggie because she's a baby, she can't do shit. But Marge, Homer, Bart, Lisa, like have like their own little individual little special abilities that they have, and then just turn it into a GTA clone.
Yeah, yeah,
You know, like maybe like like Homer is the least athletic, but he has the most health and he hits the
yeah,
hardest. You could have
yeah,
like Marge, depending on like, and they have outfits. They can wear outfits that change up. There's like maybe give them little special abilities. Like if you put Marge in her policewoman outfit, she can fuck people up. you know, if you put Homer in his Duffman outfit, he looks, maybe beers give him more health. I don't know, but I'm just saying, just make the shit, do that. I mean, because there was a time in the sixth gen where we were getting GTA clones all the goddamn time, and some of them were really good.
yeah.
They were enjoyable, and they need to bring that
Um,
shit back. But what old game do you think needs to be brought back?
I think Microsoft should go over to people that made um the ukulele game and have them remake the first uh the first two Banjo Kazooies. At least the first one. Um,
I'd be cool with that, considering that's
yeah,
basically the real rare, what's left of the real rare, and a large enough uh, count to be called rare. Yeah,
yeah.
I'd be cool with that. It's like, you know
Also,
what?
also the my laugh, but the first couple Croc games, those games could have had potential, but they were kind of those games are kind of busted.
I agree.
I mean,
I agree.
I remember it's like the platforming, there was a bit of a lag, especially in the first game when you
Yeah.
push the jump button. So
Well,
the
here's something you might
timing
not
jumps
know.
was a pain.
Here's something you might not know. Those two games were made by Argus. Argus is the developer that made the original Star Fox on the Super Nintendo.
Yep.
Um, Argus, like, and the reason those games, the platforming sucked was because it came out early. The first game came out early in the PlayStation's life cycle, and it used fucking tank controls. But here's the thing: you could still jump and like make platforms in that game, because this was before Sony just stole the dual analog sticks
Yeah.
for the PlayStation. So all you had were tank controls for platformers on the PlayStation.
Yeah.
But compared to that piece of shit Bugsby 3D, the platforming in Croc is really good. Croc 2 is actually a pretty good game.
Yeah. Croc
Um,
2
like
improved
yeah,
on some
Argus
of
was
the
going to make a
stuff.
3D platformer, but Nintendo they pitched it. Nintendo's like, we don't want it.
Yeah.
Instead, we got Yoshi's Story, which sucks.
Oh
Yeah, I
man,
said
that
it.
game is terrible.
Yoshi's Story sucks. You can beat that game in 2-3 hours for a $70-$80 game. Fuck you. No.
Wow, that's how much it was at the time.
Yeah.
God dang! Well, that is some highway robbery right there.
Yeah.
Oh man, I really wanted to play that game as a kid. Then
I mean,
the
it
internet.
has great graphics, but it's just a fucking 2D platformer.
Yeah,
It's not even a good 2D platformer. That's the thing. Like there are some games on the N64 that are pretty damn good 2D platformers, like Mischief Makers, the two Goemon games that are in 3D, I mean that are in 2D, with like 3D models on it's like 2.5D. But there's also some dog shit 2D platformers on the N64, like Kirby and Yoshi's Island. Ugh, hate that game. Sorry,
That
Yoshi's
was,
Story. Hate that
that
game.
was told Nintendo makes nothing but bangers. But yeah, Yoshi's Story is a. All joking aside, Yoshi's Story is a not great.
No, good. There's some good games on the N64. Like a lot of people like to shit on the N64 because it wasn't as commercially successful as the PlayStation 1. But there's some really good fucking games on the N64.
Yeah.
But like Yoshi Story, like I mean, and I'm saying this right now because I don't really like the Yoshi Story games. Yoshi Story games are trash. Okay, I
Yeah.
look, and before someone says, "Oh, you just didn't give it a chance," no, I played the original on the Super Nintendo. I played the one that they put on the Game Boy Advance that was like a remix where instead of it's just Baby Mario, you've got Baby Mario, Baby Luigi, Baby Wario, Baby Peach, and Baby Donkey Kong. That game sucks too.
Yeah.
Um, the one on the N64 sucks. What I'm saying is that Yoshi's Story, like that flutter jump, the slow level progression, like there, like if you look at how levels are built in a traditional Super Mario world or even New Super Mario Brothers, and then you look at the bullshit you get in a Yoshi's Story game or Yoshi's Island game, it's night and day.
Yeah.
Those games are not well constructed. Like those games feel like. Have you ever been into a baby's into a kindergarten where they have all this shit to make kids be busy so that they aren't bothering people? That's what a Yoshi's Island game feels like to me. Just look at all this shit. Look at all this shit. Look at the flowers dancing in the distance. Look at these invisible coins, these red coins. Hey, you can eat these enemies and shoot eggs. It's like there's too much going on.
Yeah.
Pick a level theme and stick the fuck with it, please.
Yeah. Yeah. You can beat this game. It looks like in a lazy afternoon. Like.
Shit, not even afternoon. 2 3 hours. If you
Yeah.
really, I have seen speed runs of Yoshi's Story where people have beaten it in like 30 minutes.
Oh wow. That's crazy.
Because in order to beat the game, the only thing you have to do is eat all the fruit in the levels. Depending
Yeah.
on which Yoshi, except certain fruit, depending on the color of the Yoshi, unless you get a black or white Yoshi, which can eat everything. Um, like that basically. I mean, that's all it is. You don't even have to worry about Baby Mario because Baby Mario's not in Yoshi's Story. So it's just
Look at the bright
stupid.
side. It runs at 60 FPS compared
It
to a lot of
doesn't.
other.
It doesn't. It doesn't. On the N64, if there's not a lot of shit on the screen, you get 20, 25. If
Wow.
there's a lot of shit on the screen, it dips down into the teens.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
the
I mean, look,
person.
listen. There's some good games on the N64 despite the performance. Yoshi's Story is not one of them.
Yeah, the sixth gen. When it comes to a lot of like the
Fifth
sixth
gen.
or fifth gen, yeah, fifth
Yeah.
gen. When it comes to fifth gen games, that's just the generation I barely revisit, just because of how poorly some of those games feel compared to, say, the sixth gen 3D games.
Well, here's what
Um,
I'll say. If a game is constructed well enough, or the premise is executed well enough, even with slowdown, I can let it go. Like GoldenEye. Like, I thought, okay, playing modern first person shooters that are faster, I'm like, well, I can't go back to GoldenEye. But if you go back and play GoldenEye, by and large, if you can put aside the slowdown, still holds up.
yeah,
Perfect Dark still holds up. Mario 64. Yes, I've played the PC reverse engineered port. Mario 64, because of how solidly it's designed, still by and large holds up. You can still start the game, and it's still kind of a joy to start the game up, start a new file, jump out of that pipe, realize that the camera is a Lakitu cameraman following you around, and run around the courtyard for a little bit. then go up to the castle front door and have Bowser be like, ah, fuck you, bitch. Basically. Okay? And jump into Bob-omb Battlefield, the first painting. Like, that still holds up.
Yeah.
Whereas, there's some games, you know, like they're PlayStation, they're PS1 games that people at the time. This is amazing. Like Crash Bandicoot, that game sucks. The first one, that game sucks. It wasn't great back then.
I will agree with
People
you. The
just liked
first,
it because it was different.
I mean, I will agree with you. The first one definitely is the worst out of the three. Uh, just because I don't know, it just feels a bit rough. Two and three, at least to me, are the ones to. They're the ones I tend to go back to the most versus one.
One has their preferences. I'm just simply saying from a technical standpoint. Like, okay, let me put it this way: Crash Bandicoot was created as an answer to Donkey Kong Country. Those games. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I know people are fans of Crash Bandicoot. Take the original three Crash Bandicoot games and stack them against the tight controls of Donkey Kong Country 1, 2, and 3. Crash got stomped, son. Crash got stomped. I mean, even just on the strength of Donkey Kong Country 2 alone. I mean, shit. like like Donkey Kong Country 1 is a really well constructed game. Really, it's really well constructed. It's a solid B grade game, like a 91, 92.
Yeah.
Donkey Kong Country 2, better than 1. And 3, it's like an 85, 86. Still pretty good. Like, if you compare it to its peers in the trilogy. But Crash Bandicoot? Shit. Nah, man.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at gameplay of Yoshi's Story. It does look really nice, but it also looks really boring.
I mean, it's kind of slow and methodical. Like I said, the Yoshi's Island games, I know a lot of people like them. I'm not a huge fan of them. I never thought they were awesome. Um, I mean, I think the shit Tezuka
First,
Takashi works on that isn't um shit like that is what I like.
I like the
I don't.
first game, but anything really
Yeah,
after that, I wasn't. I never really got into or never really interested in playing. You know, the various sequels of the Yoshi Island games.
I mean, I understand it. The first game didn't do shit for me either. I find most of the Yoshi's games mostly because of Baby Mario, that little crying motherfucker. Um,
Yeah, that does get obnoxious, but
But anyway, yeah. I mean, but to each his own. Just for me personally, I'm not a huge um I'm not like hugely into the 2D. I'm not into the Yoshi's Island games cuz it began with a lie cuz they said this is Super Mario World 2 and I'm like bullshit. Like,
yeah,
why are you beginning this relationship on a lie?
yeah, yeah,
Cuz it isn't. It's its own thing. Mechanically, it doesn't even play like Super Mario World.
yeah,
Super Mario World gives you these huge levels that are basically kind of like a playground. Yoshi's Island is like you're on an amusement park ride where you're stuck in a tram or in a train or something. You can only go so far until it keeps on going. There's a few areas wide open, but you better not go running everywhere because hidden enemies will pop up. Something will fall on you. There's some weird mechanic. Hey, if you touch that, your character will get poisoned, and then your controls get reversed. It's like, what the fuck is this, man?
yeah.
But That's my own personal opinion. To each his own. Some people, everyone can have their own stuff, but anyway, I just thought that would be a cool little aside. Uh, people playing games that they actually, like what old ass games they should bring back or new games, I don't care.
Yeah, yeah,
Remakes. Because everyone keeps on remaking everything. Everything that's old is new again, except for Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 and 4, which for some damn reason Activision Blizzard canceled the remake. They took the studio that made 1 and 2 remake and they rolled them into Blizzard.
yeah. That's pretty insulting.
Yeah.
It's like, at least people did a really good job with the 20 One Plus 2 remake, in my opinion. Like,
Yep. But
it's like,
they wanted it to make billions of dollars and not just a few shitty million.
yeah.
It's
So,
See,
I
this is
mean,
why
it's just
people don't. No, go ahead, Kenoshi.
it's just a different, it's a different time then. Like, especially with people getting burned so hard on the Tony Hawk 5. Uh, they probably weren't completely sure about the new one, and plus, a lot of people since that era of gaming has kind of moved on from extreme skateboarding games.
Yeah, but
I don't know.
normally I would agree with you, except you have games like Ollie Ollie selling really well. So people haven't lost their appetite for those types of games. These fuckers won't make them. And when they do, they
Yeah,
expect them to sell cajillions. It's like, no, it's like, I would rather own a company that makes like, I would rather have, like, okay, I would rather have 5 or 6 games that maybe cost 50 million to make, but make 600, 700 million. Because if you let's say you release 8 games, each of them produces 500. Let's say 700 million in revenue. All right.
yeah.
Okay. Let's see here. Let me get my calculator because I don't feel like doing this in my head. Okay. 8 games. Each of them takes. Let's say each of them takes 50 million to make. So that's 400. That's 400 million. Okay. All right. It's $500 million, okay? 50 million each. But each one of those 4 games, right, generates like and each single one generates $700 million in sales. So that's 700 million times 8 equals. Subtract 400 million from that. You've made 5.2 billion with 8 games. And all of them are under AAA prices. They're double A. Like I don't get, you know, because here's the thing: if like you could have like these companies have the money to do this, they just don't want to do it. Especially Activision Blizzard, they have the money to put their eggs in multiple baskets, but they don't want to do it. They don't want to take the time to do it. They just want to do the same shit over and over again. It's
Yep.
weird. Oh, let's do the bare minimum. Oh, we have a studio that made some really awesome games. Well, we gotta punish them. We gotta roll them into Blizzard so they can get fucked over just like everybody else.
Yeah, that was pretty. It's pretty terrible news when I first heard that. But
I was like, eh, oh well.
well, I mean, yeah, yeah. But anything else you'd like to bring up before we close up shop?
No, that was it. Just that one thing.
All right. Well, give your sign off, and we'll call it a night.
All right. This is Mr. Red Fox, owner proprietor BS Busters. Tomorrow I will be doing a podcast where we will be talking about some interesting topics, namely just Activision Blizzard is the worst. Probably a little bit more fangasming about Shredder's Revenge. And I thought an interesting main topic for tomorrow night will be our take on what would be a very interesting GTA trope. Spin-off for the GTA formula. Like, we have more grounded GTAs, but wouldn't it be cool to have something that really kind of did something different? But anyway, that'll be an interesting discussion in my opinion. But that's it. That's all I had to pimp out.
And this is Kanoshi Abominito, episode 38 of Project Console. You played yourself, and glad for anybody who watched the